What happens when the greatest players in Barcelona's history leave and only one remains? Messi is alone in Miami, but not defeated. The silhouettes of Busquets and Alba fade from Chase Stadium while David Ruiz and Noah Allen sweat under the Heir's gaze. This is the moment when a retirement for stars transforms into something completely different. In this video, you will discover three things. First, what really happened when the architects of the best Barcelona left Leo at the head of new blood. Second, how Mascherano designed a tactical transition that proves the Messi effect did not depend on nostalgia but on his winning mentality. And finally, why Inter Miami is no longer a retirement club but a champions academy led by the greatest of all time. Stay until the end of the video and you will understand the reason for it all. July 2023. Chase Stadium explodes when Messi signs with Inter Miami. The cameras capture the embrace with Busquets, then with Jordi Alba. Three world champions reunited in Florida to write the final chapter of a dynasty. The narrative is perfect. The architects of Guardiola's Barcelona closing their careers together, far from European pressure, in a quiet project where they can enjoy football without the weight of winning every weekend. That was the story we all bought. 18 months later, the reality is radically different. At the beginning of the 2025 season, Sergio Busquets announces his departure from Inter Miami. There is no public drama, no media rifts. He simply decides it is time to hang up his boots. Weeks later, Jordi Alba does the same. In less than 2 months, the two pillars who came with Messi to build something special disappear from the project. And Leo is left alone. Alone? Not exactly. Because in that Chase Stadium locker room, there are no longer just European legends. There is David Ruiz, a 22-year-old midfielder who arrived from American college soccer without ever having played in a top-level professional league. There is Noah Allen, a 23-year-old central defender who 2 seasons ago was on loan to second division teams. And there are other young players who arrived at Inter Miami not to retire, but to build their future. The question no one asked at that moment is the most important. What does Messi do when the teammates who understood him with their eyes closed are no longer there? Because we are not talking about just any player. Messi spent almost 2 decades playing with footballers who knew every one of his movements. Xavi knew when Leo was going to turn before he turned. Iniesta found the exact space Messi needed without the need for words. Busquets filtered passes between lines calculating millimeters. And now, in January 2026, that perfect ecosystem has disintegrated. Logic would suggest that this would affect the team's performance. That without those football brains around him, Messi would lose effectiveness. That Inter Miami would fall several steps in the standings. But what no one saw was what had been happening in the training sessions at Chase Stadium for months. Javier Mascherano is not just a coach. He is someone who shared a locker room with Messi for years at Barcelona and in the Argentine national team. He knows his way of thinking, his body language, his silent demands. And when Busquets and Alba announce their departure, Mascherano does not panic. He does something completely different. He turns Messi into the master of the project. The first sign arrives in a training session in late 2025. David Ruiz executes a directional control in midfield, but he does so looking backward instead of projecting forward. Messi stops him cold. He does not shout, he does not raise his voice. He simply walks toward him and shows him with his own body how he should receive the ball open toward space, not toward the marker. Ruiz repeats the movement. Messi nods. Mascherano observes from the sideline and does not intervene. This is the plan. The Inter Miami training cameras capture these scenes every week. Messi correcting Talasco Segovia's posture before a free kick. Messi explaining to Noah Allen how to read the trajectory of a long pass to anticipate the rival forward. Messi stopping in the middle of a rondo to show Baltasar Rodriguez why his first touch should be forward instead of lateral. These are not theoretical classes. They are practical lessons in real time, on the same field where they later have to compete against MLS teams that are learning to press high and fast. And here comes the interesting part. Mascherano structures training sessions so that this happens naturally. It is not that Messi offers himself as a volunteer teacher. It is that Inter Miami's tactical system is designed so that young players need to understand positional play exactly as Messi understands it. If David Ruiz does not learn to pivot under pressure, the team cannot play out. If Noah Allen does not read the spaces between lines, the defensive system breaks. The demand does not come from the coach shouting from the sideline. It comes from the need to measure up to the best player in the world who is next to them on the field. This is not a comfortable retirement. This is a high-performance academy where the teacher is an 8-time Ballon d'Or winner and the students have to pass every week in front of more than 20,000 people in the stadium and millions watching on Apple TV. But the version circulating in the media remains another. The easy narrative says that Messi arrived in Miami to enjoy his final years without pressure. that the level of MLS is inferior to European football, and that is why he can shine without effort. That matches are strolls where he scores when he wants, and the rest of the time walks the field saving energy for the Argentine national team. The reality is completely opposite. If you look at Messi's distance-covered data in the 2025 season, you discover they are not significantly lower than his numbers at PSG. What has changed is not his amount of effort, but how he distributes it. In Paris, Messi had to create from scratch because the system did not work. In Miami, Messi has a system designed by Mascherano that allows him to choose exactly when to explode and when to conserve. But when he explodes, he does so with the same intensity as when he was 25. There is a match in late 2025 against Charlotte FC that explains everything. Inter Miami is tied 1-1 in the 80th minute. David Ruiz receives in midfield under pressure from two rivals. He performs the directional control Messi taught him weeks prior. He turns. He sees the space between the lines. He releases the filtered pass. And Messi appears exactly where he had to be, receives without control, finishes across the goal, and scores the 2-1. The entire play lasts 7 seconds. It is a masterpiece of synchronization that only works because Ruiz learned to read the game exactly as Messi needs it to be read. Do you see the difference? It is not that Messi is playing at a lower level. It is that he is teaching others to play at his level. And that is infinitely more difficult than simply standing out individually. After the match, Ruiz gives an interview where he says something many overlooked: Leo doesn't shout at you, but when he looks at you and shakes his head, you know exactly what you did wrong. And the next time you don't do it again. That phrase summarizes the entire project. Mascherano built an environment where the demand comes from Messi's own presence, not from the coach's scoldings. And the powerful thing is that this is only just beginning. Because Noah Allen, that 23-year-old central defender who 2 seasons ago played in the second division, is now learning to build plays from the back under the direct supervision of someone who played more than 1,000 professional matches. Talasco Segovia, the 22-year-old midfielder, is understanding how to move without the ball to generate numerical superiorities by observing how Messi does it in every training session. Santiago Morales, the 19-year-old winger, is learning when to dribble and when to release the quick pass by seeing how Leo makes those decisions in milliseconds. This is no coincidence. Mascherano designed this project knowing exactly what would happen when Busquets and Alba left. Because Mascherano lived something similar in his career. He arrived at Barcelona as a tough defender from West Ham and Liverpool, and Guardiola turned him into a midfielder under the indirect tutelage of Xavi and Busquets. He learned by observing. He learned by making mistakes. And when the time came, he was able to play that position at the highest European level. Now he is replicating that model in Florida, but with an advantage Guardiola never had. He has Messi as a permanent instructor on the field. The night of the match against Charlotte, the stadium cameras capture something revealing. After Messi's goal, David Ruiz runs to embrace him. And Leo, instead of celebrating toward the stands, points to the midfield with his finger and tells him something the microphones do not catch. It is not a generic "well done." It is a specific technical correction about something Ruiz did wrong in the previous play. Even in the moment of celebration, Messi is teaching. Think about what that means for a 22-year-old player. You are not sharing a locker room with a distant legend who signs autographs and leaves. You are being molded every day by someone who has 8 Ballons d'Or and is transmitting knowledge to you that is not in any tactical manual. If you like the content and want more in-depth analysis of Inter Miami and Messi's project, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any details of this story that is just beginning. There is a detail most media outlets do not mention: the psychological pressure this generates for young players. It is not easy to train alongside Messi knowing every movement is being evaluated by the best in history. Some players are paralyzed by that pressure. Others use it as fuel to grow exponentially. Baltasar Rodriguez is a fascinating case. He arrived at Inter Miami in mid-2025 from Uruguayan football. A technical midfielder with a good pass, but with a tendency to get complicated in tight spaces. The first weeks in Miami are a disaster. He looks uncomfortable, loses easy balls, and does not find his place in Mascherano's system. There are internal rumors he could be sent out on loan. Then something happens in a training session in November. Rodriguez attempts an unnecessary dribble in midfield during a tactical exercise and loses the ball. The rival team counterattacks and scores. Mascherano stops the exercise. Everyone expects the coach's sermon. But before Mascherano says anything, Messi walks toward Rodriguez. There is no anger in his expression, only concentration. Messi asks one of the staff for the ball. He places the ball in the same position where Rodriguez attempted the dribble. And he executes the correct play, a first-time pass between the lines that breaks the rival pressure. Then he repeats the movement, but this time receiving oriented toward the other side. 4 variants of the same situation. 4 different solutions according to the marker's positions. No words. Just football. Rodriguez watches, assimilates, and when they repeat the exercise, he executes the first-time pass exactly as Messi showed him. The ball reaches the teammate, the team maintains possession, the system flows. From that day, something changes in Rodriguez. It is not that he becomes a star overnight. It is that he understands what is expected of him and how to achieve it. 3 weeks later, Rodriguez completes more than 80% of his passes in an official match against Atlanta United. These are not spectacular statistics for an elite European midfielder, but they are exceptional for someone who was about to be loaned a month ago. What really happened? Messi did not just teach him a specific play. He taught him how to read the game. And that is a skill that serves you for your entire career. Now multiply that by every young player on the squad. David Ruiz learning to pivot under pressure. Noah Allen learning to anticipate long passes. Santiago Morales learning when to accelerate and when to pause. Talasco Segovia learning to occupy free spaces. Each of them is being formed by someone who resolved those same problems for 2 decades at the highest level. And here appears a clue that changes everything. Mascherano is not building a team around Messi. He is building a team that can function after Messi. Think about the chronology. Messi is 38 years old in January 2026. Realistically, he has 2 or 3 years of professional football left. Perhaps less if his body says enough. Inter Miami knows it. Mascherano knows it. And that is why every training session, every match, every technical correction is also an investment in the post-Messi future. When David Ruiz is 25 and Messi is no longer there, he will continue executing those directional controls he learned watching Leo every day. When Noah Allen is 27 and is the leader of the defense, he will continue reading spaces as the best player in history taught him. That is Mascherano's true masterstroke, using Messi's present to build the club's future. And it is not just theory. There is already concrete evidence. In a match in January 2026 against New England Revolution, Messi is not in the squad. A minor muscular discomfort, nothing serious, but Mascherano prefers to protect him. It is the first official match of the season without Leo on the field since his arrival in 2023. Everyone expects Inter Miami to collapse without its star. That the team loses identity. That the absence of number 10 is noticed. Exactly the opposite happens. David Ruiz plays as an interior midfielder and executes the same type of filtered passes Messi would make in that position. Baltasar Rodriguez maintains possession intelligently, choosing when to risk and when to conserve. Noah Allen builds from the back without panic when receiving high pressure. Inter Miami wins 2-0. It is not a spectacular victory, but it is solid. Professional. The team functions without its best player because the system is already internalized. After the match, a journalist asks Mascherano if he is surprised by the performance without Messi. The coach's response is revealing, "It doesn't surprise me. We have been building this for 18 months. Leo doesn't just play with them, he teaches them to play how he thinks about football. That doesn't disappear when he is not there." That phrase summarizes the entire project. It is not about depending on Messi. It is about multiplying his knowledge. But there is a silent factor that explains the impossible: mentality. Because one thing is learning tactical movements, and another very different thing is developing the winning mentality that made Messi the best in history. And that is not taught with drills in training. It is transmitted by daily example. There is an anecdote circulating internally at Inter Miami that few know outside the locker room. During the 2026 preseason, the team plays a friendly against a second-tier European club touring the United States. It is a match without official importance, a simple preparation. Inter Miami is winning 3-1 in the second half. Many players are already thinking about the post-match rest. The rhythm drops, the intensity falls. Messi receives a ball in midfield, sees that 2 young teammates are not pressing after losing the ball, and stops. He literally stands still with the ball at his foot. Mascherano looks on from the bench without understanding. The rivals approach to steal the ball. And only when David Ruiz and Santiago Morales run to press does Messi reactivate and play the pass. In the locker room after the match, no one says anything. It is not necessary. The message was clear. It doesn't matter if it's a friendly or a final. It doesn't matter if you are winning 3-0 or 3-1. The standard is the standard. Always. Santiago Morales, the 19-year-old winger, tells it weeks later in an interview. "That day I understood that Leo never lowers the level. Not in a recovery training session, nor in an unimportant friendly. And if he doesn't lower it, we can't either. That is the transmission of mentality that no coach can teach from a whiteboard. It is something only learned by living with someone who won everything and continues competing as if he had won nothing. And that is transforming Inter Miami's culture from the inside. Before Messi's arrival, the club was just another one in MLS. A new team, without history, searching for its identity. Now, in January 2026, when Inter Miami's young players speak in interviews, they all repeat variations of the same concept: mediocrity is not accepted here. They don't say it because Mascherano demands it. They say it because they see it in Messi every day. David Ruiz no longer celebrates a good pass as if it were extraordinary. He sees it as the minimum expected. Noah Allen no longer settles for a mistake-free match. He seeks to be dominant. Baltasar Rodriguez no longer thinks about not failing. He thinks about making a difference. That change in mentality is Messi's true invisible legacy in Miami. And the most interesting thing is that this is happening at a unique moment for American soccer. MLS is growing. Sponsors are investing more. Stadiums are filling up. Television rights are worth more and more. But there is something money cannot buy: a winning culture. And that is exactly what Messi is installing in Inter Miami without it appearing in any official statistics. Think about what it means for MLS to have a club where young local players are being trained by the greatest player in history. This is not just beneficial for Inter Miami, it is beneficial for the entire league. When David Ruiz is 30 and a benchmark for the US national team, he will carry everything he learned from Messi. When Noah Allen captains another MLS team, he will replicate that culture of high demand. The multiplier effect is massive. A detail few are seeing is how other MLS clubs are already shifting their signing strategies to copy the Miami model. They are no longer just looking to bring in retiring European stars. They seek to combine elite experience with local youth to create similar learning ecosystems. Inter Miami is not only building its own future, it is redefining how teams are built across the entire league. However, this carries a hidden cost that no one mentions: the physical and mental price Messi pays for being both teacher and player at once. We are not talking about a passive role where Leo only appears for matches and rests the rest of the time. We are talking about someone present in every training session, correcting every error and demanding every detail. This requires constant mental and physical energy. At 38 years old, with a body accumulating nearly 1,000 professional matches, such demand has its limits. That is why Mascherano carefully manages Messi's workload. There are matches where Leo does not play the full time, and training sessions where he participates only in tactical phases. It is not that Messi is in decline. It is that his role now includes responsibilities far beyond the final score. If you understand this, you understand why the sacrifice of Busquets and Alba was necessary. While they were there, the weight of leadership was distributed among three. Now it falls entirely on Messi. This is the true sacrifice of the chosen, assuming alone a burden previously shared with brothers in arms. But there is a silent factor that explains the impossible. And that factor goes beyond football itself. What is happening at Chase Stadium is not just the development of better players. It is the construction of an identity that transcends the sport. Fans who followed Inter Miami before Messi's arrival agree, the club changed its soul. It is no longer a team people visit for a show. It is a place where people witness history in real time. One detail illustrates this perfectly. During home matches, when Messi teaches David Ruiz or Santiago Morales on the sideline, the stadium cameras do not show replays of the last goal. They show that conversation. The crowd stops looking at the big screen and watches the field directly to try and read Leo's lips. They understand they are seeing something more valuable than a spectacular play: the transmission of knowledge from one generation to another. This does not happen in any other MLS stadium. In other teams, during a pause, the public checks their phones or chats with neighbors. In Miami, they observe and study. They try to catch every gesture from Messi toward the youth. This public attention generates additional pressure on the learning players. They must not only measure up to Messi but to 20,000 people watching their evolution under his tutelage. Noah Allen expressed it in a recent interview. It's strange training knowing every mistake is seen by Leo. But it's even stranger playing at home knowing people are watching how I react when Leo corrects me. It's like having two levels of responsibility at once. That pressure could destroy mentally fragile players, but it is forging a generation with psychological maturity far beyond their age. They are learning to handle massive expectations in an environment where failure is visible and success is measured against the highest standard in history. It is no coincidence, and now you will see why. The easy version says Messi came to Miami to enjoy his final years in a relaxed environment, that MLS is a low-demand league where he can shine without extreme effort, and that his mentoring role is a spontaneous occurrence after Busquets and Alba left. That this is all a pretty coincidence, a picturesque end of career where the best player in history becomes a teacher without planning it. The reality is radically opposite and much more complex. When David Beckham and the investment group signed Messi in 2023, a two-phase strategic plan already existed. The first phase was immediate media impact. The second was establishing a formation methodology that could sustain itself after the stars departed. Mascherano was not hired just for his relationship with Messi, but because his philosophy made him ideal for directing this second phase. The departures of Busquets and Alba were not a surprise to the board. They were part of the planned calendar. Both arrived with contracts contemplating short-term retirement. The difference is the public saw these as unexpected losses, while internally they were calculated transitions to activate the next stage where Messi would assume full leadership responsibility. This explains why Mascherano did not sign direct veteran replacements. He could have brought in other European veterans, but he chose to leave that space for the youth to grow rapidly. It is a risky strategy that works here because they have Messi as a growth catalyst. In practical terms, every tactical decision by Mascherano is designed to maximize learning opportunities under real pressure. Training drills are not generic. They replicate exact match situations where Ruiz and Allen must make split-second decisions. Messi participates as an active player, demonstrating the physical solution every time someone errs. If you are looking for more content to help you understand the full Miami project and what is coming, like the video and share it with someone who needs to see this. That is the difference between having a coach explain from a whiteboard and having the best player in history show you on the field. Words are forgotten. Body movements seen executed in front of you are engraved in muscle memory. There is another deeper layer few are analyzing: the effect this model has on the international perception of American soccer. Historically, MLS was seen as a retirement league, a narrative that damaged its reputation for decades. Inter Miami is destroying that stereotype from within. When European scouts look at David Ruiz now, they see someone trained directly by Messi. That changes the evaluation completely. This goes beyond individual value. It is a shift for the whole league. If Inter Miami can create this ecosystem, others can replicate it with their own stars. The model does not depend solely on having Messi. It depends on structuring projects so veteran stars act as active mentors. Within 5 years, when these players reach peak performance, they could be in top European leagues. Their formation will be credited to Inter Miami under the greatest player ever, permanently changing the global narrative of US soccer. A recent match proves this is already working. Inter Miami visited a direct rival in heavy rain and a muddy pitch. These are conditions where young teams often collapse under pressure. In the 15th minute, David Ruiz received a ball in his own area under heavy pressure. Instead of clearing it long, he controlled toward the sideline, turned to evade his marker, and released a filtered pass to Messi. Leo advanced and assisted Luis Suarez for the goal. The play lasted 9 seconds and worked because Ruiz executed exactly what Messi had been teaching for months. After the match, Mascherano noted, David made the right decision because Leo taught him to trust his technique even when things get complicated. You don't learn that in books. You learn it seeing someone who faced those situations thousands of times. So that's it, right? Not quite. Because no external analysis captures the emotional cost for Messi. It is not just the physical wear of competing at 38. It is the psychological weight of knowing every gesture is observed by players who depend on you. If you lower the standard for one day, you send the wrong message to an entire generation. Cameras capture these moments. Messi sitting alone in the tunnel 30 minutes before a match, focused beyond physical prep. Or Messi staying 15 minutes after everyone else, rehearsing movements while Allen and Morales watch from a distance. These are not moments of a relaxed retirement. They are part of a mission. Titulos are forgotten and records are broken, but the careers you help launch and the culture you build remain for decades. That was the true promise Messi made to Miami in 2023. True greatness is measured by how many people you elevate with you. Beckham understood this when he brought in Mascherano and exposure through the MLS season pass. Every decision has been oriented toward long-term sustainability. Messi committed to this vision totally, choosing the difficult path of being a present master over just a media figure. Just when you thought it was clear, another revelation changes the perspective. This isn't just a strategic plan, it's a psychological need for Messi himself. In a recent interview, he said seeing Ruiz execute a play he taught him reminds me of when I was learning from Xavi and Iniesta. Now I understand what they felt. Messi is closing the circle that began at La Masia 25 years ago. Completing this evolution from prodigy to master gives meaning to this stage of his career and provides him with a peace of mind that Ballon d'Or cannot. The young players don't fully understand yet that Messi is receiving something from them too. the chance to end his career with purpose rather than melancholy. When they are veterans in Europe or the national team, they will carry his mentality and high demand with them. Inter Miami stopped being a retirement home the day Busquets and Alba left, and Messi became the sole architect of the Barcelona legacy on the squad. That moment could have been the decline. Instead, it was the transformation. It forced Messi to become the master he was destined to be. In 10 years, history won't focus on Messi's MLS goals, but on how a Florida club became the continent's most prestigious academy by having the best of all time teach young players to think the game exactly as he does. That is the true inheritance of the Heir, the one he is leaving in Miami for the generations to come. The sacrifice was not that his friends left, but that Messi stayed to accept the heaviest responsibility, being remembered for the champions he helped create before his final goodbye.